This is the highest card in the tarot deck. This is the Ace of Cups. Now, like I always say, never give from your cup of wealth, but share freely the overflow. This is a clear indication of exactly and precisely what I'm saying. Do you see here the divine filling that cup infinitely? An infinite cup of wealth. That's why you have these symbols. It's just constantly being blessed with prosperity and abundance, happiness, richness, life, love. It's an eternal flow that never ends. Now this is your cup of wealth right here. Clearly you could see it. The overflow that's creating an infinite ocean here. The lily pads, life, all of the drops of the overflow. This is what is to be shared. This is what is to be shared with the world. This. Because you could see this is what you feed the world with right here. Always share freely your overflow. That's the reason why you're here. You're not to keep what comes out of that cup. You're to keep what stays in the cup. Everything that stays in the cup is your cup of wealth, and you're not to share that because then you leave yourself with nothing. You leave yourself with nothing. The infinite will continue to bless you as long as you're in alignment with this type of energy. It's important you understand this. Never give from your cup of wealth, because then you leave yourself with nothing. What does that mean? If you have $10,000, you can afford to give $500 away in the form of buying food or clothing or supplies to somebody who needs it. Or perhaps somebody needs $20 to get a sandwich or a cup of coffee because they're starving to death, is what I mean. And there's your overflow right here. This is what God is intending for that overflow to be used for. See, what the problem you have here is with these creatures that make hundreds of millions of dollars a day tax-free. They're hoarding away the money of the world and keeping it for themselves. That's why we are in the situation we are in, because they're not feeding it back into the system. So always remember, this is your cup of wealth that you're never to give from, but always share freely your overflow, because this is what feeds the world, and this is the intention of God, and this is why this is the highest card in the tarot deck. My greatest gratification comes from helping those less fortunate than myself. It is the very reason and the purpose of my being on this planet, and the very nature of my heart and my soul. This is what it's all about for me. Absolutely. I remember when I was in Vegas in 2019, and I was just shocked and disgusted that there's so many homeless people literally decaying, looking emaciated like zombies, literally blocks away from these billion-dollar edifice and these casinos and these towers of glass and steel. And it made me sick. It made me absolutely sick. So what I did was, I didn't realize that I had, gotten into that type of situation. I wasn't expecting it, but I switched modes quickly. So then I began to feed as many people as I could. I gave them everything, sandwiches, drinks, anything I could. And I remember clearly, I met a man who lived in the tunnels with his wife, and his name is Terry, and they did a documentary on him. I think it's called Love in the Tunnels of Vegas or something like that. And I clicked with him immediately. So when the first time I met him at a 7-Eleven, and the only thing you could do is take out $10 there. So I gave him $10. I asked him, what do you want? He says, it's just something to drink. So I gave him the largest Gatorades they had. And then I didn't see him for a few days, and I was getting ready to go back home, and I bumped into him again. I said, now I can help you. Can you tell me where there's an ATM? He says, right in the lobby of that hotel. So I gave him a significant amount of money. And when I gave him the money, I hugged him. I told him I love him. And I cried. And I walked away. And I said to God, thank you, God, for giving me my heart, because it is the greatest gift you've ever given me. I do what I do. I'm not looking for favor or grace from God because of that. Because I do what I do because I follow the nature of my heart and soul. I don't block the grace of God and the blessings of God. But I don't give because I'm looking for that. Absolutely not. But you have a cup of wealth right here that you are to keep for yourself and your family. And you are not to give from that cup of wealth, because then you will leave yourself with nothing. But you are to share freely that overflow, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, that overflow, it must be shared with the world. That is the intent of the overflow. Not to keep for yourself. Because then you're no better than these creatures that think that they're running the world, but they're not. Do you ever wonder why they always tell you money makes the world go round? That's a bunch of garbage. God makes the world go round. They're not in power. They never were, and they never will be. Why don't you just learn to do for others as well? Be giving and caring. Don't be selfish. Be selfless. Because that's what we're here for, to help each other, not just help ourselves.